Pick some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some freaking money. It's time for Pocket with Joe. Happy Thursday, everyone. It's time for Pocket with Joe over here on YouTube. I hope you guys are having a fantastic start to your Thursday morning. And I hope you guys made some freaking money with me yesterday. We saw those two lower scoring games that we expected to be lower scoring games, be lower scoring. And then we saw the chaos. So yesterday on a deck, we did see the Buffalo Sabres finally get their first win of the season, winning it 8-4 over the Ottawa Senators. Now, if you had a Shane Pinto for that anytime goal, you were laughing. If you had Tags Thompson, it was a great game. We got the over 1.5 in the first period and both teams to score. Definitely a moneymaker out there. The Florida Panthers did lose to the Detroit Red Wings in that lower scoring game, keeping us under the total of 8.5. The Red Wings were a plus 121 dog in that matchup. 4-1 win for them there. The Calgary Flames unfortunately did lose to Utah, but we still kept Utah's team total under the 3.5. So that was a moneymaker. We saw the 3-1 win for the Utah Mammoth, and we saw the unveiling of their new mascot. Can't remember the new mascot's name. Husky, I think, or Husker, or something like that. I'll have to look that back up. And then we saw Chicago roll into St. Louis. We saw all those trends yesterday on why you should bet the St. Louis Blues. And that's why sometimes you just got to have to go against those trends. Chicago as a plus 203 underdog, pulling off the win in a St. Louis. That one flying over the total as we expected, winning it for Chicago 8-3. So looking at today's matchup, we have an absolutely loaded slate out there. All of these games we will go over. And again, I will do the recap at the end of the show. So I'm seeing you guys' comments. Not everyone can stick around for the full show, but thank you for popping in early. Do come back for that recap. I will put the bookmarks up for every single one of these recaps, as well as the long shot parlay, so that you guys can jump to them. Now, I am building to get the timestamps up for every single game. Just a little hard out here, you guys, for me to get those timestamps up because I got to go through the video afterwards. And it just takes me a couple minutes. And you guys know it is a loaded Thursday here for me. So I'm seeing all of your messages. I'm glad to see you have your coffee. Irish King, a good morning to you. Yeah, the Sabres definitely got some Wheaties last night, but it is a reflection on what we're seeing out of the Ottawa Senators. The Ottawa Senators defensively are having those struggles, you guys, and their lapses last night we saw. Now, Buffalo and Ottawa proved how porous they are on that blue line. They need to make improvements before their next game. So something to look at. Kev, good to see you here this morning. Thanks for jumping on with me on Picks and Parlays earlier. And let's make some money. The ice is so freaking hot. Everybody making freaking money today on the ice. It is time. You cashed the Detroit Red Wings money line, Utah laying 1.5. Jake Neighbors for the anytime goal. And you made some freaking great money there, Irish King. Glad to see it. So let's get on with these games today. It was nice to see Chicago have a good game and make some money out there. I have a coffee, but let me just have one sip of water. There's a lot to go over today, you guys. And I've already talked for a full hour and actually done some videos. So I've talked quite a bit. We're going to get through these games. So the puck will drop tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. Now, we talked about Ottawa. We talked about their porousness on the blue line, and they will be taking on the Seattle Kraken tonight. Now, the Seattle Kraken rolling in as the dog. They've looked better than I expected this season. They're coming in at plus 126. The Ottawa Senators on the second night of back-to-back after losing to the Sabres last night. The books want us to lay minus 152 on. That's pretty gross, you guys. We got a total of 6.5. It's minus 132 to the under and plus 108 to the over. Now, Joey Decord is expected here for the Seattle Kraken, and he's been great to start the season here for Seattle. He's got a 918 save percentage. Allmark expected here for the Ottawa Senators. I think there's a couple ways to go with this one. I do think because of those problems we've seen with the defensive unit here for the Ottawa Senators, we just look at Seattle's team total and them to pull off the upset. I can't believe we're getting Seattle at this price. Ottawa on the second night of a back-to-back. I just don't believe in them to turn around their defense really quick. And Joey Daccord has been solid. So if we're looking at the Seattle Kraken on the money line, plus 126. Those numbers are starting to drop. We were seeing closer to the plus 130 mark earlier in the day. And I do think it's a solid way to go. Now, if you don't like here, them straight up on the money line because you think Ottawa is able to answer back here, then I would look at Seattle's team total still. I think they have the ability, they have the arrest advantage, and I do think they're going to be motivated to be able to get the win here in Ottawa. So over 2.5 goals here for the Seattle Kraken coming in at minus 142. So it is juicy. That could be a parlay piece for you. If you think this Ottawa Senators are going to struggle to score in this one on Joey Daccord, another way you could take it would be taking Ottawa's team total. It's 3.5. It's minus 134 to the over. You look at what Ottawa did last night in that game. Yes, they allowed 8 goals to the Buffalo Sabres. Do you guys realize on how many shots those 8 goals came on? It was only on 26 shots on net. So it was a bad night out there for the Ottawa Senators. They weren't allowing a ton of shots, but goaltending really did lapse. But the problem is the defense in front of whatever goaltender is in net for Ottawa never gets that support. And this is something that we've seen be a problem each and every year for the Ottawa Senators. So I would look at over 2.5 goals for the Seattle Kraken. Firing that up to over 3.5 goals, this could be a 4-3 style win for Seattle. Or, you could see the Ottawa Senators bounce back. I just don't see it. But either way, I do think we could see over the 2.5 and probably the over 3.5 to be able to cash. We've got Jared McCann running so hot here for the Seattle Kraken that I do think he continues to be able to play that. And you look at the Seattle Kraken, if Ottawa finds their way to go up, you can come back on the Kraken plus 1.5. And I think at that point, you're going to get better value. They've covered the puck line in each of their last 9 against opponents on a losing streak. And Ottawa is looking to get back on track. I just don't trust them here. Now, Shane Pinto cashed for us yesterday for Ottawa. So if you want to come back in on him tonight to continue his strong play, Pinto 5 goals and 6 points thus far for the Ottawa Senators. Now, Jared Schwartz on the other side here for the Sens has scored a goal in 3 of the Kraken's last 5 games. So he has been nice and solid. And like I said, Jared McCann has really been stepping up. But for me, I'm going to look at this one for the Seattle Kraken over 2.5 goals. Probably going to parlay it with something else out there. Good morning, Matt. I am glad that you're joining us here today. And thank you. Let's make some good money today. Yeah, let's make some good money. That is for sure. Okay. The Colorado Avalanche versus the Columbus Blue Jackets is the next game on a deck. The puck is going to drop for this one at 7:10 Eastern. Now, Colorado's a minus 162 favorite, and rightly so. The Colorado Avalanche, led by Nathan McKinnon, Kale McCarr, have all the firepower in the world. They are taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Columbus Blue Jackets at home are plus 134 on that money line. We do have a total of 6.5. Now, it's a pick 'em on the other each side of the 6.5. It's just minus 110 there on both sides of things. Now, my concern with this total is, well, actually, I just think it's too high. There's not much concern on it. It is a lower scoring game for me. You got Scott Wedgwood coming in to go for Colorado versus Elvis. Now, Elvis, this is his first home start of the season, and we know Elvis can really stand so solid between the pipes in certain games. I do think you're going to get some support from the defense here. Columbus has been weak on the power plays. They've only been scoring on 50%, on their kill. They've been allowing the opponent to score 50% of the time. So that is the concern with the total, but we need both of these goaltenders to stand nice and tall. Now, Scott Wedgwood has been stellar between the pipes this season, and he's got a 1.72 goals against average and a 935 save percentage. So I do have faith in him So if you want to isolate one team's total and not take the full game to the under, then take Columbus's team total to the under. You could parlay that with the Kraken's team total to the over. And I do think you're going to make some great freaking money there. We're seeing Scott Wedgwood really compose between the pipes as well. He's not feeling that pressure. And when we do see those defensive lapses there of the Colorado Avalanche on that blue line, we are seeing Scott Wedgwood really be able to be strong between the pipes and not stress with that pressure and make those high danger shots. Saves. So we are seeing him solid between the pipes. I do really question if Colorado is worth the price that you would have to lay. I don't love it. I really do think this is a 3-2 style game. Now, the problem is with that 3-2 style game, I could see this one being a game in which we see the empty netter. So a 3-2 style game win for Colorado. They do get the empty netter. You cover that puck line. I don't think it's an overtime game. We have seen Colorado's only loss come in a shootout, and that was to the Dallas Stars. So the last outing for the Columbus Blue Jackets was a 3-2 loss to the New Jersey Devils. They did a good job of slowing down the New Jersey Devils in that one, but they just weren't able to close out that game. They weren't able to generate those chances, and that was a huge struggle out of them in that one. So for this game to stay under, Columbus can't take those penalties, because if we see them take those penalties, we're going to see Colorado just run away with this one. They need to work out on special teams how to get that done here and not take them. And if they do, they have to work out how to kill it off. They also need to slow the pace of the Colorado Avalanche. Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar are going to be on fire like they are every single night. Martin Necas as well. So they need to find a way to get things done in this game. And if they do, they should be able to keep it competitive. I do think this is a 1-goal game. So I will look at this one to stay under the 6.5 is just way too high. Again, 3-2 style game. Even if it's at 4-2, we still stay under 6.5. I keep forgetting this game is 6.5 because it feels like it should have been a 5.5 game. I'm really questioning why the books have it at 6.5. I feel really solid about an under in this game. Now, when you're looking at players, because I am liking an under, there's no denying what Martin Necas has been able to do. He has 5 assists so far, including 2 on that power play. So if we do see Columbus take those penalties, those power play points are coming in for the Colorado Avalanche. So I do think looking at the power play points would be a better way to go in this game than looking at the points. We know those top lines of these guys are so highly juiced. Now you have Nathan MacKinnon for the power play point at plus 110, Cale Makar at plus 135, and then Martin Necas, he's already had 2 power play points. I would take him for the power play point at plus 165. He is on that top power play unit, you guys, and I think it holds the most value for you out here in a 3-2, 4-2 style win for the Colorado Avalanche. I lean towards a 3-2, and that's why I'm going to stay off the puck line. Okay. You guys drop in the live chat what you're liking out there on the ice today for sure. Let's move on to the Winnipeg Jets taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. Looking at this matchup here, the Winnipeg Jets come in rested and looking to get another win. They're minus 137 here on the money line. The juice is ticking up faster than we can do this show, you guys. That is for sure. It's plus 114 there for the Philadelphia Flyers. A total of 5.5. The 5.5, the juice has dropped a little bit. It is minus 120 to the over 5.5. You look at Connor Hellebuck, and he just doesn't have the numbers that I would have expected thus far on the season. He's got a 3.54 goals against average. Looking at him versus the Flyers, these numbers are not great, you guys. 3-6-1 in 10 games with a goals against average of 2.55. Goals against average isn't that bad. It's better than how he started this season, and a save percentage of 922 in the last 10 versus the Flyers. So 922 save percentage, you can't complain about that. Urgent on the other side here is 2-1 in 3 games with a goals against average of 1.67 versus the Jets and a 945 save percentage. Are you telling me the Flyers are going to pull this one off? If Urgent is able to do what he's done before and Connor Hellebuck falls into the form that we've seen versus the Flyers and to start the season, you could see the Flyers pull off a win here. They have won for the past 5 meetings in this series, including a bunch of shutout wins. Urgent has been incredible. The Flyers have had the Winnipeg Jets number. Major rest advantage, though, and that's what you got to wonder about is a rest advantage for the Winnipeg Jets to keep this tight. The road team has won for the past 5 meetings in this series dating back to January 22nd, 2023. But again, it's been the Flyers that have been on the road winning for the past 5 in this series, including 2 shutouts, you guys. I got to look here at the first period to start off a defensive tight battle here. That's all I'm going to bet. I'm not going to take a side. I'm not going to take a full game total. I will take the first period under 1.5 goals. It's coming in at -106. I expect both of these goaltenders to stand on their heads to start this game. Both of these defenses to play really solid and it to be a defensive battle out there. Now, 12 of the Flyers' last 13 night games against Central Division have gone under the total. So that points you to the full game to the total. When you're looking at playmakers out there, Mark Scheifele, there's no denying him and Kyle Connor, how strong they have been out there for the Winnipeg Jets. Again, I'm staying off player props in this one because I just don't see those goals being easy to come by. Tyson Forrester, though, has opened the season up nice and hot for the Flyers. He's been able to get a point in 3 games straight. So he would be your playmaker if you really want to circle someone there for the Philadelphia Flyers. Let's move on to the Nashville Predators versus the Montreal Canadiens. This is where I think chaos instills tonight. The Nashville Predators rolling in here at +125. The Montreal Canadiens at -150. You got a total of 5.5. And why isn't this 6.5? I expect both of these teams to be able to light the lamp. I'm looking for a 4-3 style game. So, right away, I'm going to go with the over 5.5 and -138. I think you can fire this one up over 6.5. I have no problem doing so and getting that plus money. What I also like in this one is that first period for the Montreal Canadiens. The Montreal Canadiens in their last game out were able to get us that first period win, even though they didn't cover the puck line as that game did go to overtime. I would look at them to come out and cover that first period puck line. Again, this is a team that makes us money in the first period. First period laying a half a goal +158. We got +154 last game. They're giving us more value here. Now, when we look at the Montreal Canadiens, their edge really lies in the amount of confidence they have playing out there. Their young talent really does bring that momentum, bring that speed to this team, and they're going to be firing at Saros. Now, for the Nashville Predators, they're going to have to rely on Saros and their physical play out here to really slow the pace, but I think Montreal is going to be overwhelming. That being said, I still think the Predators get some goals on Sam Montague. Again, 4-3 style win here for Montreal. You could look at Montreal in regulation. It does bring that down, but I'd rather stay off that in case something weird happens out there where this is an overtime game. Montreal at home really does thrive with that home crowd behind them as well. And this is a team that's already got 15 goals thus far on the season and only played 3 games. So offensively, they are really bringing it. You could look at their team total as well. I think it is a solid way to go. The Canadiens have covered the puck line in each of their last 7 games following an overtime win as well. They've been able to come out nice and strong. So if you like Montreal in the puck line laying 1.5 at +164, I don't think it's out of question, you guys. I do think Montreal is a solid team, but again, I can see that 4-3. Could we get a 5-3 because of OT or because of the empty netter? Absolutely. So it might be worth a look there if you think Nashville can stay competitive in that third period. And we have the situation where they pull the goaltender, but I would rather just look at the first period here for the Montreal Canadiens puck line at +158, the over 5.5, and firing it up to over 6.5. So those alt total numbers, I'm just going to pull them up for you because I can't remember what I got for that plus money. We are going to look at alt total goals over 6.5. It's only +116. So they're not giving us very much there. If you think it's going to go over 7.5, That's where you get that great plus money at plus 270. Don't think I can go that high, you guys, but I do think this is that high scoring, chaotic night out there. You've got Sam Montague in net here versus Saros. So it's going to be an interesting one. Moving on to the next game, you guys, we have Florida versus the New Jersey Devils. Now, I'm not reading these lines wrong. The Florida Panthers are rolling in as the dog, you guys. They are plus 128 on the money line. Second night of a back-to-back after losing last night to the Detroit Red Wings. Minus 154 here for the New Jersey Devils. That's a lot to lay on the New Jersey Devils. Jacob Markstrom is out with injury. We'll see Jake Allen between the pipes tonight. And that doesn't instill a lot of confidence here for me. We know the Florida Panthers love to lock down on the defensive side of things, take a lead and then hold on to it. Well, the New Jersey Devils bring that young, fast play. They're so solid in transition and moving the puck up the ice. We have seen some defensive lapses out of this team over the seasons. This total sitting at 5.5. Minus 138 to the over and plus 112 to the under. Tarasov is expected between the pipes here for the Florida Panthers, as we did see Bob last night, Bob Roski. Now looking at Tarasov versus the New Jersey Devils, he's got an 850 save percentage, yet to record a win with a 3.11 goals against average. The New Jersey Devils, Jake Allen versus the Florida Panthers. The numbers are not pretty, guys. 3-8 in 11 games versus the Panthers with a goals against average of 4.40 and a save percent of 870. This number at 5.5 doesn't make a lot of sense. I think this is another game where you can look at both of these teams to start off really strong and fast. Now, I do like the first period over 1.5 goals. The books do too, though. It's minus 138, so it is juicy. I think this game goes over 5.5. But it could be because of a 4-2 win. Devils in regulation coming in at plus 100, I think, is another solid way to go. I think as this game goes on, the Devils' speed will wear down the Florida Panthers, who are on that second night of a back-to-back. They're coming off a really hard game versus the Detroit Red Wings, losing that one 4-1. And I do think with a rested Devils team that is going to be up to play them here, you're going to see success. Now, the Panthers have covered the puck line in each of their last 10 games as an underdog following a road loss. So you do have that fear that Florida comes in here and takes out that frustration of last night's loss on the New Jersey Devils. This is game 3, though, of a 5-game road trip, and this is not a spot where I want to be backing the Florida Panthers, even though we're getting that great plus money. This is also the home opener for the New Jersey Devils after playing 3 games out there on the road. I think this is one where you look at the Devils in regulation to be able to come out and get the win. But this one to start off fast, over 1.5 in the first period. If you like both teams to score, I don't hate both teams to score. You're going to get plus money. Now, Brad Marchand and Lundell really leading this team here for the Florida Panthers with 5 points each. You got Jasper Bratt, Luke Hughes with 3 points. 4 points so far on the season. Timo Meier has been able to score a goal in each of the Devils' last 2 games. You know, you've got Jack Hughes as well. You got lots of playmakers here for the New Jersey Devils, and I do expect them to be able to have success. So lots of good ways to be able to go with this game. You guys, let me know if you're willing to fade the Florida Panthers tonight, or if this is a game where you'd rather stay off than put money on the New Jersey Devils, especially at this price. And that's the problem. The price right now on the New Jersey Devils is a hard pill to swallow against the reigning Stanley Cup champs. I do think a lot of people will bite on that plus money for Florida, but I just can't get there. I don't think it's worth it. If anything, I look at Florida first period for 2-1 first period, for them to be able to get up to start this game, and then the Devils to fight their way back. We know that's not out of question for this team. Let's move on to the New York Rangers. They are facing the Toronto Maple Leafs. A ton of games dropping at the 7 p.m. Eastern mark. We have the Rangers coming in at plus 115, and they're on the road, which is a good thing for them because at Madison Square Garden, they haven't fared well this season. The Toronto Maple Leafs are minus 138 at home. This total, 5.5. It's probably a little too high. 5.5 plus 104 to the under and minus 128 if you think this one's going to go over. I just can't see this being a high scoring battle. You guys, you got Igor Shesterkin, who has been fire to start this season. He's got a 0.76 goals against average and a 972 save percentage. On the other side, you do have Stallars here for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Stoller should be solid between the pipes. He doesn't have the best numbers versus the Rangers in his career with a 3-3 record in 7 games, but he does have that. Goals against average is only a 2.41 and a 926 save percentage versus Rangers. So he does have pretty decent numbers. Now, Toronto's going to have to stop their inconsistencies in the defensive end because we have seen that plaguing this team thus far this season. But I do think in this one, the Rangers, I just don't think are going to win this in a high scoring game. I think if the Rangers had the opportunity of winning, it's in a lower scoring game, but I think the Leafs can win this in a lower scoring game as well. I'm going to stay off the side. I will look at the first period under 1.5 goals. I think it is a great way to go. Under 1.5 goals in the first period at plus 100. And I do think it stays under the 5.5 for the full game at the plus 104. The only problem with that is at the 5.5, you do worry about the empty net with a 3-2 situation with the empty netter pushing us over that. Could this one go to overtime and screw it too? Yeah, it could. But the underdog has covered the puck line in each of the last 14 games between these two teams. They are that tight of games. So what I would look at here is whichever team goes down first, because we're looking at a puck line. It's just unbettable. Plus 1.5 for the Rangers right now is minus 220. If we see the Rangers go down by a goal, then we see them at a better price at the plus 1.5. I do think this is a 1-goal game. So under 5.5, the plus 1.5 in a live betting situation for a tight battle, but the under 1.5 in the first period, I think is the best bet at plus 100. And yeah, Sam Reinhart, anytime goal. Marchi for the assist is a great way to go for the Florida Panthers for sure. And then Jack Hughes and Jasper Bratt. Jack Hughes for the goal and Jasper Bratt for the assist for the New Jersey Devils. Irish King, I like where you're going with those. Okay, players to look at in this matchup. I am very leery of taking player props just because I think it's going to be the lower scoring game. But Adam Fox already has 3 goals and 4 points for the New York Rangers. JT Miller has every ability to net one if you're looking at someone to do so. On the other side, you know William Nylander. He's already leading this team with those points, getting 7. It did spark something in him the other night after his coach was criticizing him. And then Austin Matthews has goals already. He's already got 3 goals on the board. Nylander, I would probably look at him to be impactful in this game if Toronto is to get the win. The Edmonton Oilers and the New York Islanders, this one is dropping at the 7:30 mark, so the bottom of the 7 o'clock hour. We've got the Islanders as a home dog. They're plus 138, and this team has been struggling on the defensive side of things. Your question is, are they going to be able to keep up offensively in this matchup with the Edmonton Oilers? You guys, I've told you the Edmonton Oilers are like the Cincinnati Bengals, but this is a team that should be able to score in this one. Cincinnati Bengals in the first start of the season, the first month, they struggle to get those wins. They're minus 166, but we know they turn everything around. Total 5.5. I think we do isolate the Edmonton Oilers to be able to come out and get a big win. We've got David Rittich coming in net for the Islanders. And while David Rittich will make his first start of the season for the Islanders, I just don't trust what we've seen out of the Islanders as a whole. I think the defense will be weak on that blue line, and we're going to see the Oilers 1-2 punch with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Absolutely too strong for this team. I would look at the Oilers to be able to win this and cover that puck line, and it's not many times I'm giving the Oilers this many compliments. Lane 1.5 at plus 142 for the Edmonton Oilers. I'd also look at puck line in the first period. They're going to do some damage, and I just don't see the Islanders keeping up. So Edmonton's already 2-1 on the puck line so far this season. A couple of those, they've been the dogs. The Islanders are 0-3 on the puck line. I think Andrew Mangiapane has every ability to get a point in this game as well. He's been able to get a point in the first 3 games with is a new team there. So I would look for a strength out of him. Bo Horvat, if you're looking for a trend, has scored a goal in each of the Islanders' last 2 home games against the Oilers. So Bo Horvat to step up here for the Isles. I do think this could be a game where it's a 5-2, 5-3 at the worst kind of score for the Edmonton Oilers. Again, what faith do we have in Skinner between the pipes for Edmonton? One thing I just want to look at is what is Edmonton's schedule. I always look at that and I forgot to memorize who they have on deck. They have the New Jersey Devils on deck on Saturday. It's a 1:30 game, so it's not that late game, not in the late game window. I do think they're fine coming into this one with the Devils on deck. They got the Devils and the Red Wings, so they do have a back-to-back schedule. They're coming off the Tuesday win versus the Rangers, in which they won that one 2-0. So they are coming off a nice win there. They beat the Canucks to 3-1. So after losing to the Calgary Flames. So they have got, 2 wins, 2 solid wins thus far. But I don't think this is a letdown, you guys. The Devils and the Red Wings on deck. Now we'll see them going into New Jersey and how that's going to be. This is their second game out there on the road of this road trip. They are on a 5-game road trip. So something to note, the second game, the third game is where I start to give a little bit of angst taking a team on the puck line like this. Okay. Next, we're going to look at the Vancouver Canucks taking on the Dallas Stars, you guys. The Vancouver Canucks come in here struggling on the offensive side of things, and now they're going to face one of the top defenses in the league. It's going to be a hard game for Vancouver away from home, especially at plus 146 on the money line. I know we all love a dog, but this is not a dog I could back tonight. The Dallas Stars are minus 178, so that juice continues to tick up. They were in the minus 160 mark earlier in the day. This total sitting at 5.5. Minus 140 to the over. If you think this one is going over, you've got to think the Dallas Stars get 4 goals themselves. And that's the only way that I think this one goes over, is if Dallas gets 4 stars or 4 goals. I'm going to look at the Stars in regulation to get the win. You're dropping this juice down to a minus 115. So I think it's a great way to go. I do think they can get the win in reg here over Vancouver. Vancouver is yet to register a power play goal this season. So that is a huge concern for this team. Their offensive numbers are just trending in the wrong direction for me to back them here, especially against a defensive-minded team like the Dallas Stars with Jake Ottinger between the pipes. I would look at Vancouver's team total, and this is one of my favorite bets of the day. Vancouver's team total under 2.5 goals. It feels like taking candy from the books in this one. Candy from a baby, taking that money from the books. It seems too easy. Vancouver's team total under 2.5 goals at minus 112. Could they come out and only get 1? Yeah, they could. I don't hate if you want to alt that under 1.5 goals. Demko expected here for the Vancouver Canucks, and like I said, Jake Ottinger for the Dallas Stars. Now, Ottinger's been, kind of iffy versus Vancouver, but I just don't see it in this one. The Stars have won each of their last 9 Thursday games against the Canucks. If you like those trends, there's your Thursday trend for you guys. The Stars have won each of the last 9 Thursday games versus the Canucks. I don't buy into those, but it's 9 games on a Thursday. It's a lot of games. Jake DeBrusk has scored a goal in each of the Canucks' last 2 road games versus the Stars. So that's your player trend there. Jake DeBrusk to come out nice and strong for Vancouver. I'm not taking any props here for Vancouver because I do think they struggle to find the back of the net. When we look at the Dallas Stars, Mikko Rantanen, Rupe Hintz, and Thomas Harley all have 5 points to start the season. Wyatt Johnson, we love what we see out of him, right? He is leading in goal scoring so far with 3 on the season. So I do expect those lines to be able to convert out there for the Dallas Stars. I think the Dallas Stars have their way today with Demko and get this win in regulation. So Jace, good to see you here today. So that's where I'm going to go with that game, you guys. We're going to move on to the next game, the Boston Bruins. I'm eating my words on this team. The Bruins looked so solid so far on the season. They were able to win their first 3. They did lose that last game in a tight one to the Tampa Bay Lightning in a game where they went down 4-1. And then anyone who thought they were comfortably covering the puck line, taking the Tampa Bay Lightning, were wrong because Boston fought their way back, still losing it, but it was a 4-3 loss. Now, Swayman is expected between the pipes tonight for the Boston Bruins, and he has been phenomenal in the 2 games he started. He could steal a win here, and it sounds gross, right? Who wants to take Boston versus the Vegas Golden Knights? Well, I tell you, if you've been rolling with Boston versus the Vegas Golden Knights as they have matched up, Boston's won 8 and Vegas has only won 4. So of 12 games, 12 meetings between these two teams, we've seen the Bruins win 8 of them. It is a nasty one to bet the Bruins tonight, but one that seems to be a moneymaker. So let's look at the odds in this game. We are seeing the Boston Bruins. Everything is ticking up. Here they're now plus 190 on the money line. Wait, if you like Boston, you like their opportunity, I do think money will continue to roll in on Vegas. Vegas is off the game versus the Calgary Flames. They were able to get the win, and this was the first time for Vegas that it wasn't really a tight one. They were able to get the win by multi-goals. The Bruins plus 1.5 is minus 128. I don't hate the juice. You got to lay plus 1.5, and I do think Boston will keep it within that number. This total sitting at 6.5. The juice to the total is on the under. I would look at this one to start out strong. Now, goaltending, I'm still not seeing who is listed here. I wonder if the books do have some goalie props because I'm not seeing who it is. There is no goalie props yet listed for this game, so no confirmation has been made. But we saw Aiden Hill in that last game versus the Calgary Flames not to be able to finish it. I doubt he's 100%. So I do think this game starts off slow, but we could see those goals coming. If this game starts off slow, as I expect, I think a total of 6.5 is too high, but I'd rather isolate the first period. The under 1.5 goals in the first period coming in at plus 112. And then if we see that total drop to 5, I will take it, or 5.5, I will take it to the over because I can see 6 goals in this, a 4-2 or a 4. No, I still see it being a game in which we stay lower to start, and then we can see the Bruins cover that puck line. So that would push us over the 6.5 at the end of the day. It's going to be a hard one for this bet to hit, but I do think the Bruins is worth a look. Plus 1.5 at minus 128. They're 3-1 on the puck line thus far this season. They're going to have to win this in a 3-2 style game or lose this in a 3-2 style game for us to stay under that 6.5, and cover that puck line, but I think it is doable. This is the first road trip of the season, though, for the Bruins, so that is a hard space to be. They head west. They've got 3 games out west, so I don't like having a lot of faith in the Bruins, but if I had to put a bet, it would be the Bruins plus 1.5. I like the first period under 1.5, though, the best in this game. Now, if you're looking at goal scorers, I do think Mitch Marner at home finally nets his goal here in this one. And then on the other side, Morgan Geekie and Pasta. I'd look at both of those guys for their points tonight. The Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the LA Kings is our next game on deck. Just pulling up the lines on this one. The Pittsburgh Penguins are a plus 172 dog here on the road. The LA Kings at minus 210. We're sitting at a total of 6.5. It's minus 134 to the under, plus 110 to the over, you guys. We've got Anton Forsberg expected in between the pipes here for the LA Kings. We're looking at really solid numbers, the solid save percentage versus the Penguins, but goals against average is high. He's got a 908 save percentage versus the Penguins in his career. He does have a goals against average of 3.01, though. Now, I normally love looking at the Kings, especially at home, for them to be in lower scoring battles, but I don't think this is one. We look at this total of 6.5 plus 110 to the over, and I can for sure see it playing out that way. The Penguins did sweep the Kings last season. They won both of their matchups. And I do think we've got a higher scoring game in which the Kings get the win, but the Penguins play a game offensively that does put that pressure on the Kings, and the Kings have to continue to score. I played around with the Kings team total because they're the team that I have the most faith in. The Penguins, they just struggle defensively, and that's my problem with them. I'm going to take the Kings team total over 3.5 goals at minus 116 and then over 4.5 goals at plus 210. I think it's worth laddering up those goals for the LA Kings. I can see them winning this one 5-3. That pushes us hugely over the total of 6.5, right? So I think the Penguins will score. I think the Kings will score. The underdog has won 7 of the Penguins' last 8 games in LA. So could the Penguins pull off the upset? Well, if they can, they need to score a heck of a lot more goals. I think if the Penguins win, this is a 6-5 style game because defensively, they just are not able to lock things down. So that is where I would go with this one. Look at the over, look at the Kings team total to the over because I trust more in them than I do. Kempe, Kopitar, Kuzmenko. We'll go over some of those player props, and that's something I decided I'm going to save a lot of those line combos till the end as we go over that, build those player prop parlays. But let's look at the Carolina Hurricanes versus the Anaheim Ducks. We got Frederick Anderson versus Dostal. You guys might not like where I'm going with this one. This total sitting at 6.5, minus 120 to the over. The amount of 6.5s on the board today are crazy out there. And I do think this is another one that goes over the total. Minus 102 to the over 6.5. I know Carolina is so solid between the pipes and defensively, but I'm expecting the Anaheim Ducks to put up at least a couple of goals for us. This is the late night game of the night. The Carolina Hurricanes, we know their ability to score. They should be able to get 5 goals themselves. So if we're looking for 5 out of Carolina, 2 out of the Anaheim Ducks, that nicely gets us to 7. Would I be shocked if the Ducks get 3? Not at all. I think this young, talented team with Troy Terry, Leo Carlson is going to be dangerous in this game. And I do think we will get those goals. So give me the over 6.5 in this one. Carolina should win it. Should be them starting the season 4-0, but I do think just go over that total. The Carolina Hurricanes have failed to cover the puck line in each of their last 7 games as a road favorite against opponents on a winning streak, and we know the Ducks have been getting those wins. They're 2-1 to start the season, so it's gonna be crazy. I know I'm with you with the Kings, and you are so welcome. So let's get into that recap. And then we're going to build. We're going to play around with those props, with those player props, with the combinations out there of those top lines. So it will be a lot of fun, you guys. I promise. We are at the 41-minute mark. We did a better job of moving through things today. So thank you guys for all bearing with me. But that's because we left all these players to talk about to the very end. So let me have one sip of coffee and then we'll get into the recap. Okay. It is recap time, you guys, at the 42-minute mark. I'm going to kick it off here with the first game on deck. We got the Seattle Kraken taking on the Ottawa Senators. I'm going to go Kraken's team total over 2.5 goals and a sprinkle on that money line at plus 128 for the win over the Ottawa Senators. I just don't trust the Senators defense. And you got Joey Decord in here for the Seattle Kraken, who has been so solid between the pipes. The Colorado Avalanche and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Give me the under a 6.5 in this game at minus 112. This total is just too high. I see a 3-2 win here or a 4-2 at worst. The Winnipeg Jets and the Philadelphia Flyers. Give me the first period under 1.5 goals at minus 106. You got Connor Hellebuyck versus Ergen. Ergen has very solid numbers versus the Winnipeg Jets in his career. I do think Connor Hellebuyck has a solid first period under 1.5 goals. The Nashville Predators and the Montreal Canadiens. Give me the Montreal Canadiens to win this in a 4-3 style game. The over 5.5 is minus 138. The first period puck line for the Montreal Canadiens, running it back from what we did in the last game that cashed for us, laying a half a goal in the first period for Montreal at plus 158. The Florida Panthers versus the New Jersey Devils. First period over 1.5 goals at minus 138. Game over 5.5 as well. I know the Florida Panthers like to get up and hold on to the lead, but I think the New Jersey Devils end up getting the win in regulation, coming in at plus 100. I could see a 4-2 because of an empty netter win out of the Devils. The New York Rangers taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Igor Shesterkin versus Stallars. I do think this one starts off slow as well. Defensive battle out here with both of the blue lines stepping up in front of their goaltending. Give me the first period under 1.5 goals at plus 100 in this lower scoring game. Give me the under 5.5. The Edmonton Oilers and the New York Islanders. Give me the Oilers. Just trust them on the puck line tonight. And that's the last time I say just trust the Oilers. It hurts to say it. Puck line laying 1.5 goals coming in at plus 144. We do have the Oilers with 2 pretty hard games on deck. So it is a little bit of a look ahead with the Devils and the Red Wings back-to-back Saturday and Sunday. But I don't trust here the Islanders and their defensive lapses they've already had this season. And Rittich is confirmed between the pipes, making his first start of the season. Edmonton's 1-2 punch is going to be way too strong. The Vancouver Canucks taking on the Dallas Stars. I have the Stars in regulation at minus 115. Vancouver has yet to score on the power play, and they have been struggling offensively, and now they're facing one of the best defenses in the league. Give me Vancouver's team total under 2.5 goals at minus 112. The Boston Bruins versus the Vegas Golden Knights. The Bruins are going to rely heavily on Swayman to be able to get the win here. Expect Swayman to stand tall. I'm going to look at the Bruins plus 1.5 at minus 128. They're 3-1 on the puck line thus far on the season. I'll also look at this one to be an intense defensive battle to start the first period under 1.5. The total does seem high in this one. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the LA Kings. Well, the Kings, how high can we go for their team total? Over 3.5 goals for the LA Kings at minus 116. Over 4.5 for a sprinkle at plus 210. I think the Kings dominate the Penguins tonight. The Carolina Hurricanes and the Anaheim Ducks. Give me some more plus money on an over. I do think we got a higher scoring game, as the Carolina Hurricanes should be able to score at will on Dostal. And we know here the Anaheim Ducks have been solid at putting up those goals thus far on the season, sitting 2-1. I do think they get a couple on Frederik Andersen. So I will take the over 6.5 in this matchup. So let's look at player props. Here we're going to jump into that. We're going to look at those line combos. Montreal, TTO and Caulfield, TTO, Timo Meier. As I'm guessing that's who you mean. And then Eichel anytime goal for Vegas and Mitch Marner, the assist. I do like it. Vegas with Mitch Marner and them, and McJesus and Draisaitl for the assist. Great ways to go. Golden Knights game over 1.5 in the first period. I'm going to go with the under, but I don't mind taking Vegas puck line. I would look at Vegas puck line in the first period. Top 5 players to record points tonight. Okay, let's look at the top 5 players to record those points tonight. I think you firstly look at that Edmonton game. You look at Leon Draisaitl. Look at Leon Draisaitl to record a point for the Edmonton Oilers. When we look at Boston versus Vegas, I do think Mitch Marner for a point. So Leon Draisaitl, Mitch Marner for a point. On the other side for the Bruins, it's got to be Morgan Geekie. So I like all of those guys. So Morgan Geekie, Mitch Marner, Leon Draisaitl, Kopitar. I'll take Kopitar of the LA Kings for a point. So let's build it out. Let's build the top 5 players for a point tonight, and then we will get that, and then we'll go over all of these games looking at those players. So firstly, we'll do Boston and Vegas because I do think Geekie comes out strong. Mitch Marner for a point. You know how gross it is? It's minus 130. You can't even it drives me crazy how high it is. Okay, but I will put Mitch Marner and Morgan Geekie in because I do think they're both going to get a point. The Edmonton Oilers game, I am going to ride with Leon Draisaitl for the point tonight. He is going to be juiced. He's minus 440. It just feels like it's getting worse. When we look at the Winnipeg Jets, I do think you look at Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele for their points tonight. Let's see if we're getting any value there. Mark Scheifele is minus 245. So we've got 4 players right now for their points for my top of 5. From the Dallas Stars, I got to look at Mikko Rantanen to continue to roll for the Dallas Stars. I think he's going to be able to get those points on the board, and he's minus 330. So it's gross, you guys. A 5-legger My 5 favorite guys to get the points on the board: Mitch Marner of the Vegas Golden Knights, Morgan Geekie of the Boston Bruins, Leon Draisaitl, the Edmonton Oilers, Mark Scheifele of the Winnipeg Jets, and Mikko Rantanen of the Dallas Stars. So 5 players for the anytime points is coming in at plus 400. So great way to go. 5 legger at plus 400. I'm also then going to okay. So sorry. My phone is going off. My daughter is telling me that she's spending my money. That gives me a little bit of concern. So that is not what I wanted to hear right now on a Thursday morning. Okay, so plus 400, 5 legger, Mitch Marner, Morgan Geekie, Leon Draisaitl, Mark Scheifele, and Mikko Rantanen all for an anytime point. Now let's look at some of these other players that we're looking at out there, you guys. We'll start off with the New York Rangers and the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think that's going to be a defensive battle, so I don't want to touch anything there. The Florida Panthers and the New Jersey Devils, I do think that you can look here at the New Jersey Devils players, and that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to stay off Florida tonight. I don't blame you if you take Sam Reinhart, you take Sam Bennett. I will look at Jack Hughes and Timo Meier. I like the value better on Timo Meier. He's minus 142. That's not saying Jack Hughes isn't going to be able to get a point tonight, but I do think Timo Meier is the stronger way to go for your point. The Colorado Avalanche and the Columbus Blue Jackets, there's no denying what Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar are able to do out there. They're really juicy. Martin Necas is where I would look for the point if you want to. I'm going to look here at the Columbus Blue Jackets. I am going to throw in Zach Werenski into the parlay. He's minus 180 for an anytime point, and he's been really solid out there for the Columbus Blue Jackets. We look at him, and he does have a whole bunch of points already this season. He's been getting those shots on goal as well. Now, he is a blue liner, so 19 shots through the first couple of games out there, but those attempts have been in the double digits. So I do like Zach Werenski to come in nice and strong for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think solid way to go with him for a point tonight. And then for Colorado, why don't we throw in Langdeskov for Colorado to come in strong? He's plus 108 for a point, and we can see it coming into this game. The Nashville Predators and Montreal Canadiens, I do think we're going to see some goals in this one. So I really do like looking at them. You know, you got to look at Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. And if you look at Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield, just parlayed together, it's coming in at minus 112. That is a go-to every time we hit the ice. I do think Lane Hudson, with being paid and how strong he's looked at minus 142, is another way you want to go in this game. So if you look at Suzuki, Caulfield, and Hudson, you parlay them together, it's plus 183. We're going to go over some of these same game players, but I'm going to put Suzuki and Caulfield in our long shot. On the other side, I will put Philip Forsberg here. Forsberg to come in and get us a point for the Predators is minus 180. The Seattle Kraken and the Ottawa Senators. I'm going to look here at Seattle. Jared McCann to be able to get us a point on the board. I do think he steps up in this. Now, you know we rode with Shane Pinto last night. I'm going to stay off Ottawa. They're on the second night of back-to-back. I don't want to add anyone. The Winnipeg Jets and the Flyers, I am looking for that to be a lower scoring, so I'm going to stay off of it. We already added in Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl for Edmonton, and I'm going to stay off the Islanders as I don't trust it. But remember, Bo Horvat has been strong versus Edmonton. Vancouver versus Dallas. We already put Rantanen in there. I don't trust Vancouver offensively to get things done. The Anaheim Ducks and the Carolina Hurricanes. I do expect goals in that one. So let's look at some points there. Sebastian Aho is your leader to get those points. I do think Sheznikov is a nice look out there for the Carolina Hurricanes. I will look at Sheznikov for the point tonight. And then on the other side for the Anaheim Ducks, you've got Leo Carlson, you've got McTavish, you got Granlund and Troy Terry. I like Troy Terry to come out strong. We're actually getting plus money on Troy Terry for the point. Seth Jarvis is minus 245 for the Canes to get a point. I do think he gets it. Again, you'd have to parlay that. And then the LA Kings versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think we're going to see the points rolling in this one. So let's look at Kopitar for his points and Quinton Byfield. Quinton Byfield, great price, minus 136. Let's see where Kopitar is registering for his point. We got Kempe at minus 310, Fiala at minus 164, Kuzmenko at minus 125. Is for some reason Kopitar out of the lineup tonight, you guys? I did not see that. I don't think he's out. Yeah, he is day to day. So he's listed day to day. He did miss practice yesterday. Okay, so Kopitar isn't listed. I still think the LA Kings can get the win without Kopitar in the lineup. Look at Kuzmenko to really step up, and that's where I'm going to go. Kuzmenko for the point with Kopitar out. I do think Kuzmenko gets that step up. He's minus 135. And then Byfield for the point, I think, is another great way to go. So we have built a crazy long shot parlay. I can imagine this one hitting because if you pay $1 on it, it does return $1,105.33. But let's go over some of the players we're looking at for this a long shot parlay. Yeah, you can see William Nylander be able to come out nice and strong for the Colorado Avalanche tonight. Okay, or sorry, for the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. So Nylander, he has been stepping up, and I don't hate it at all. Okay, let's look at firstly where we're going with the point parlays for each game before we do the long shot. So if you look at Colorado versus the Columbus Blue Jackets, you guys, and you parlay together Zach Werenski here of the Columbus Blue Jackets with Gabriel Landeskog of the Colorado Avalanche, both for a point. So opposite teams coming in at plus 199. If you look at the Nashville Predators versus the Montreal Canadiens, you look at Nick Suzuki and Caulfield, you guys know that's an auto. Right away, I put the two of them together. You're going to get plus money with that. If you throw in a point there for the Nashville Predators, Forsberg, it's coming in then the three of them for a point at plus 193. So that's Nick Suzuki, Caulfield, and Philip Forsberg all to register a point between the Predators in the Montreal game at plus 193. I think it's a great way to go. Again, take Suzuki and Caulfield and Lane Hudson for your point parlayed on that side. The Carolina Hurricanes and the Anaheim Ducks. You guys, the Carolina Hurricanes, Chesnikov here for a point. And then for the Ducks, Troy Terry for a point. Now, Troy Terry alone for the points, plus 104. When we look at Chesnikov and Troy Terry to each register a point tonight, it's coming in at plus 230. So great way to go in that game. I love, we look at the line combos a lot, but I love also looking at one player from each team who I have the confidence to register a point in a game that I do think is going to have the ability to get some goals. That's why I've left a couple of these games off. So then when we look at the Pittsburgh Penguins and the LA Kings, Quinton Byfield and Kuzmenko there for the LA Kings. I'm going to stay off the Penguins. The inconsistencies I just don't trust, but I do think they're going to get some goals. You got Sid the Kid over there, and he's going to become a nice and strong in this game. So I'll just look at the Kings with Kopitar probably not in the lineup tonight. I look for Kuzmenko to step up and Quinton Byfield to be able to have success too. So Byfield and Kuzmenko for the Kings at plus 166. Looking at the Boston Bruins versus the Vegas Golden Knights, I'll look at Mitch Marner for a point for Vegas, and then Morgan Geekie for the point for the Boston Bruins. They're coming in for a point each, parlayed together at plus 122. Now, when I look at the Edmonton Oilers, I will take Leon Draisaitl. I'm going to stay off of the Islanders, so he's just going to be put in the long shot. I'll look at Mark Scheifele for the point in Winnipeg, or against the Flyers in Philadelphia against the Flyers. For a point, Mikko Rantanen versus Vancouver for the Dallas Stars for a point. Timo Meier versus Florida for the New Jersey Devils for a point. And Jared McCann for a point for the Seattle Kraken versus the Ottawa Senators. So that is in the same game parlay. So you can put $1 on a couple of the books that I bet on FanDuel. I've never tried to put $1 bet in, so we'll see what FanDuel allows you to do. So this long shot parlay, $5 will pay you back 5,000. So if you want to put some coffee money on it, let me know which leg would screw it up. I never recommend doing a 16 leg parlay. That is for sure. We're going to take out a couple of these players. I'll run over those 16 legs of the players one more time that I think have every possibility. This is like a lottery ticket. Zach Weneski here for the Columbus Blue Jackets, Landeskog for the Colorado Avalanche, Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield for the Montreal Canadiens, Philip Forsberg for the Nashville Predators, Andrei Shezhnikov for the Carolina Hurricanes, Troy Terry for the Anaheim Ducks, Quinton Byfield and Kuzmenko for the LA Kings, Mitch Marner for the Vegas Golden Knights, Morgan Geekie for the Boston Bruins, Leon Draisaitl for the Edmonton Oilers, Mark Scheifele from the Winnipeg Jets, Mikko Rantanen from the Dallas Stars, Timo Meier from the New Jersey Devils, Jared McCann from the Seattle Kraken. So that's your 16 legs. Let's take out a couple. I want to take out, let's take out, okay, I'm whittling this down. Just give me 1 second here to take out some of these players. I'm going to take out the players that I have the least faith in this matchup. So take out Timo Meier. We're going to take out Timo Meier and take out Jared McCann. Okay. So we still have a 10-legger. A 10-legger paying $5 returns $268. So I've got Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield, both from Montreal. Quinton Byfield and Kuzmenko, both from the LA Kings. Mitch Marner from the Vegas Golden Knights, Leon Draisaitl from the Edmonton Oilers, Mark Scheifele from the Winnipeg Jets, Mikko Rantanen from the Dallas Stars, Landeskog from the Colorado Avalanche, Shezhnikov from the Carolina Hurricanes. From the Colorado Avalanche and the Carolina Hurricanes. That was right. Okay, so that is where I'm going to go. There's a lot of other books. There's a couple offshores that will let you do those lower bets. Bet365 will normally get you those as well. There's a lot of books up here in Canada like Cool Bet, Sports Interaction, Bet99 that will let those lower bets go through, especially in a longer shot parlay. I know a lot of the books also will limit how much you can put on something like this because they are trying to hedge their risk and they would rather you take a lower price on these long shot parlays. So yes, we can go over that 10-legger one more time. Absolutely one more time. And then I'm going to let you guys head on your way because we've done another hour show. But you know what? We've flown through everything really fast today. So let's go over one more time. So the first two legs of the parlay, both from the Montreal Canadiens, Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. And I can't stress enough how much you should always just put the two of them in a player point combo and get that plus money because, well, now it's minus 112 for the two of them together. But in the 10 legs, I have Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield from the Montreal Canadiens. Of the LA Kings, we got Quinton Byfield and Kuzmenko from the LA Kings. If you just take the two of them, they're plus 166. From Toronto or from Vegas, not Toronto anymore, we got Mitch Marner for a point. Leon Draisaitl of the Edmonton Oilers, Mark Scheifele of the Winnipeg Jets, Mikko Rantanen of the Dallas Stars, Landeskog from the Colorado Avalanche, Shezhnikov from the Carolina Hurricanes. So one more time. Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, both from the Montreal Canadiens. Quinton Byfield, Andrei Kuzmenko from the LA Kings. Mitch Marner from Vegas, Leon Draisaitl from Edmonton, Mark Scheifele from Winnipeg, Mikko Rantanen from the Dallas Stars, Landeskog from the Colorado Avalanche, and Shezhnikov from the Carolina Hurricanes. $5. The odds are moving. People are getting this in. It was plus 290 almost. It's now plus 270. So get those bets in. A $5 bet, I think, is worth it for those guys to all get a point tonight. I think they should be able to come out nice and strong. But you guys, I appreciate each and every single one of you for being here. If you could do me a favor under the live show, if you can hit that like button, and you can also leave me a comment who you're liking for the player combos out there, who you're liking to be able to get the win. It all helps the algorithm, even if you just want to give me a thumbs up in the comments. I would greatly appreciate it, you guys. But thank you all for being here each and every single day. Share this with a friend as well. Let's try to get the word out on Pocket with Joe. I'm probably one of the only hockey shows that goes over every single game, every single day. If anyone else does it, hats off to them because it is a lot of work. So you guys are the best in all of your bets. Let's make some freaking money until tomorrow. Stay hot, and I will see you.